Good morning. It is now 10:20 a.m., June 20th, at the Office of the Mayor, Municipality of Rota, and I want to welcome everybody to this confirmation hearing to examine the nomination of Ms. Dana Calvo, nominated to serve on the Commonwealth Economic Development Authority Board of Directors, representing the 1st Senatorial District. Mr. Daniel Titano, nominated to serve also on the Commonwealth Economic Development Authority Board of Directors, representing the 1st Senatorial District. And Ms. Elvira Magnolia Meskin, nominated to serve as a member of the Civil Service Commission, representing the 1st Senatorial District. We are live and on Facebook and YouTube. And before proceeding with the order of business today, if there are no objections from the members, Ms. Valerie Atalik was also supposed to appear before this committee today. However, due to a lack of flight to Rota, she will not be in attendance today, so we will reschedule her. And if there are no objections from the members, we will be rearranging the schedule of the nominees to appear before the committee. We will have Miss Elvira Meskin at 11 o'clock a.m., and then we will break for lunch, and then continue on this afternoon at 1:30 with Miss Dana Calvo and Mr. Daniel Taitano. Are there any objections from the members? Okay. At this time, I would like to, because we are not in our normal place of business at the Senate chamber in Saipan, I would like to introduce the LB staff assisting the committee this morning. We have our counsel, Mr. Joe Bermudez. We have our legislative assistant sitting in for Mr. Devin Macronis, Mr. Giovanno Taitano. We have our IT assistant, Mr. Delbert Camacho. And to keep order and decorum at all times, we have our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Ben Terlahi. Did I miss anyone? No. I will now recognize Mr. Giovanno Taitano to call the roll of the EAGI committee.
Senator Selena R. Babauta,
Present.
Senator Donald M. Manglonia,
Present.
Senator Paul A. Manglonia, Senator Dennis C. Mendiola.
Here.
Madam Chair, all four members are present.
Thank you, Mr. Taitano. With all four members present, we have the necessary quorum to conduct today's official meeting. And next up on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. And for everyone's benefit, we will take a recess until 11 a.m. immediately after the adoption of the agenda. And I now recognize Senator Dennis Mendiola for the proper motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, I move to adopt today's agenda.
Do I have a second? Second. Motion has been made and it has been seconded. Are there any objections to the main motion? No. There being no opposition to the motion, it hereby passes. Today's agenda is hereby adopted. At this time, we will, like I mentioned earlier, we will take a short recess. Recognize Senator Paul.
I just want to recognize the presence. I don't know if they will recognize our special assistant, Oscar Babauta, who's here with us, as well as Mr. Paul Regis, Legislative Affairs Director. Welcome to Rota, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Babauta, Mr. Regis. Welcome to Rota from the administration of Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang. They're here today to formally introduce the nominees to the committee this afternoon, or this morning, starting at 11. And I hereby call this meeting to recess until 11 a.m. this morning. Recess. Good morning, everyone. It is now 11:04, and we are back from recess. Prior to the recess, we had just concluded the adoption of the agenda for today's meeting. And before we proceed with the next order of business, I'd like to take care of some housekeeping rules. The committee appreciates your cooperation in minimal distractions during the session, so we ask that everyone please silence your electronic devices at this time. I would now like to invite Mr. Oscar Babalta from the administration of Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang and the nominee, Ms. Elvira Messian, to please come join us. Mr. Babalta's role here this morning is to formally introduce and present the nominee, Ms. Elvira Manglotnia Messian, nominated to be a board member or a commissioner at the Civil Service Commission. And Mr. Babata, you may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I wish to greet my fellow Rotanis of the day, dan buenos dias para todos sabjo. Di man gagigidi man ikunguk pagunugan. To my fellow Rotanis family on the island who are here this morning, I'd like to greet you with warm hope day. Madam Chair, with me this morning is one of the Office of Special Assistant for the Administration, rather Special Assistant for Special Project, Mr. Paul Regis, who is sitting back here in the gallery. I wish to acknowledge his presence also. And with that, I thank you, Madam Chair, and this esteemed committee again for appearing this morning before you. I'm just elated, as you are all to be here conducting or participating in this public hearing for the administration's nominee. More especially so because my mom is from here. And I'm very happy to be back and see our people again one more time. That being said, I wish to greet all of you from the administration of Governor Honorary Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David Mundo Apatang. A warm holiday to the people of Rota and especially to the committee members who are here leaving the main Senate building to just to conduct this public hearing for the benefit of the residents of Rota. I thank you for doing that. For the record, my name is Oscar Manglona Babalta, the Special Assistant for the office and that of Lieutenant Governor David M. Apatang. I thank you for the opportunity again to appear before you today. I'm here to introduce the Governor's nominee for the Civil Service Commission, Ms. Elvira Manglona Mesungan, who is currently sitting to my left this morning. Ms. Mesungan is an experienced professional with over 23 years of experience. From 2000 to 2004, she was the accounting technician for the Commonwealth Utility Corporations, while at the same time serving as acting administrative officer from 2002 to 2004 before becoming the credit and collection specialist for CUC from 2004 to 2005. She then moved to Guam to continue her education, post-secondary education. At the same time, served as the purchase representative for the Science Group of Companies or Application International Corporation Company, providing procurement services for the Naval and Air Force Base in 2007. Before going into the classroom in 2008 as a Chamorro teacher in Guam Department of Education. She then made a very firm decision to return to Rota in 2009 as a classroom teacher, teaching social studies to the students in high school until 2013, where she currently serves as school counselor. Ms. Besgun graduated with an Associate of Arts degree in Liberal Arts from the Northern Mariners College in 1999, a bachelor's degree in public administration from the University of Guam in 2006, and then again pursuing further her educational career, gained a master's master's degree in public administration, once again from the University of Guam in 2008. Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Apatang placed their full trust and confidence in Ms. Miskun's ability and capability to serve on the Civil Service Commission. And I know that she stands ready to answer your questions, present to her, and present her plans for the future of the organizations as Civil Service Commissioner. Her long history of professional experience, credentials, and commitment to serving the Commonwealth in this capacity makes her a viable candidate as we kindly ask for your expeditious approval to the full Senate in the next Senate session. Thank you, Madam Chair, once again, and Jesus Masi and Giliso, for the opportunity to be here with all of you this morning and introduce the governor's nominee to the civil service into this August body. Once again, si Jesus Masi ni Dangkulo, buen bunido para todos samjo ni Toto Saipan.
Jesus Masi, Senor Babalta. Next order of business is public comments. And before we open up the floor for public comments, I just wanted to give you guys some information on why we are here today. Today, we will evaluate the education and professional standing, as well as character, integrity of the nominee, Miss Elvira Meskin. She has been nominated by Governor Palacios to serve as a member of the Civil Service Commission, and her nomination came to the Senate on May 12, 2023. These nominations require the advice and consent of procedure unique to the Senate, and this is basically the legislature exercising its authority under law to provide guidance to the administration with regard to their nominees. Each member of this committee has an inherent responsibility to ask exploratory, probing questions of vital concerns to the community and to the committee at large. So I now open the floor for public comments, and I ask that if you're going to make public comments, please state your name for the record, the entity you represent, and pursuant to Senate rules, you will be allowed 5 minutes. The floor is now open for public comments.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Senator Mabauta, Senator Polk, Senator Donald, and Senator Dennis. For the record, no si Albert Titano. Madam Chair and members of the committee no gumagagi zo gini. Kumusta po tayo doon na nomination si Mrs. Meskun para Civil Service no Commission. Pinanina daw na by na yung dongkong na presisyon si Governor Palacios dan Lieutenant Governor Apatang. Por isso niya appointment as Mrs. Meskun. And look, welcome to Rota pa si Obi dan si Nupo. No senators, by facing naman na kusina por favor in confirm na nomination pa si Mrs. Meskun sa fera di experience niya gave alum no gobernamento. Idonya loki no education kabalis da ilakuna taza no afedo problema para impedimento na sinya o ni in stop donya no appointment pos giloeno fa fesi ni consensya mido na kusina and confirm si Mrs. no Miss. Thank you, si Jesus Masi.
Jesus Masi, Mr. Titano. And before we hear the testimony of the next person, I would like to recognize Mr. Ray Munya, who will be testifying virtually. Mr. Munya, are you there? And he's in Saipan. And Mr. Munya happens to be the chairperson of the Civil Service Commission. Stand by, Mr. Munya.
Test. Okay, whenever you're ready. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning, Senator Babalta, Elvira. Hello. So my name is Ray Munya. I am the chairperson of the Civil Service Commission. I'd like to extend my gratitude to Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Appetang in the nomination of Ms. Elvira Mesnian, and also I'd like to recognize the Mayor of Rota, Aubrey Hokut, in the recommendation for Ms. Elvira. So I've known Ms. Elvira when in my capacity as a family coordinator over at the public school system. So we've worked collaboratively. In that capacity, whenever I applied onto Rota, as when she was and currently as the high school counselor. So I want to extend my full support in the nomination and hopefully the confirmation from the Senate to have Ms. Elvira Mesnian be a part of the Civil Service Commission. Now, we both acknowledge that learning starts from home. She's an educator, and also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an educator at heart. So we both believe learning starts at home, and she is where the rubber meets the road with regards to workforce development. Now, as the chairperson of the Civil Service Commission, I really do believe in an educated workforce, and she sees the needs firsthand. She sees where her students will be placed after graduation. So with her expertise, her educational background, she will be an asset to the Civil Service Commission. So once again, I, Ray Munya, chairperson of the Civil Service Commission, fully support the nomination of Ms. Elvira Mesnian into the Civil Service Commission representing the beautiful island of Rota. Thank you all for your time, and Elvira, I'm happy again you're hopefully being considered. Thank you all. I yield for now.
Thank you, Mr. Munya, for your testimony. The floor is still open for public comments.
Buenos días para todos. Man presente dan imenega genozo. Inano si Perry King mesngun ya sagwani nami pagun hani ni mai ikunguk. Buenos días para hago Chairwoman Selina Babauta, Vice Chair Donald Manglonia, members Senator Paul and Senator Dennis. Sidos masih nin nagwatin pumizo ni para tapan ikunguk ihafa para usangan igatsongo gi minamizo. Undang kulon sidos masih para si Lieutenant Governor Palacios dan Lieutenant Governor Apatang para i-nomination. Malago na pabisangan tayo ini. Galungguma uhunggi natilaya matsotso na kontudo pamalaan. It's a working force. Man manunggi ni zoloki na tempo, pago na tempo i-diverse. It comes in a different decision. Daw tungwa na gihininggeo, gisininteo, dan itiningoho, tangkulo konfiansao, no esti, na individuat ihaji mapunta para estina na membron komisyon. O gagago tangkulo na desisyon gi konfiansa, data na sadik mo na hiyafa munanangga nisti na tsuotso hiyafa po fan matsogi komisyon nisti civil service. Prenai za fatsuotso za fansiam matsuotso za ugaha loki palaan galomisti na driving force para ufamat molik na desisyon ki para intermenti impliao ni Marianas. Sizo sumasi.
Sizu Smasi, Mr. Meskin. The floor is still open.
Buenos días, Madam Chair,
Buenos dias.
Vice Chair, members, Senator Paul and Senator Dennis. Siguro so na todo do samjo tumungo na hagaw esti kay gigifi ono. Law ahi ti tumo tim kay gizu gini mo na put hagaw para todos i haji i maulik dan para sinya ha chogwi chechu dan sinya ha chatai pareu i tau-tau. Finene na zaho na besangoni si Goberno as Arno dan ni Lieutenant Governor as David apatang na sumendang kulo na si Josmasi gini ni Fondo ni Corazon ho na hapunta si Elvira Mesngon para STS Service Commission. Na padgun na Palawan ifionu uhonggi dyan hutungo na tiho na diferensya i-empleyao. Siguro jo na wiza hatrata pareo todo i-empleyao. Pues no dan siguro jo na hanasinya sumogwi itsetso. Está todo si Oscar songan todo hafan no edukasyon niya. Pues matata sungo gini kay gyo gini papayfaysin ni dangkulo na konsiderasyon mizo jaang siguro hamjo na angoko na atso'y itsetso maulik jang gini pega gwi halum gwini na puesto i Civil Service Commission. Pues hugaga ko hamjo na kosinya in considera jen pega si Elvira Mesngon para Service Commission ginin luta jan lokoy do panaajuda jan mangatsong niya siya damana jista komento si Mr. Munya ja unanay lokoy si Mr. Munya dangkulo na si Josmasi ne bonito ni mensahinya para si Elvira. Pues estiha no dangkulo na si Josmasi para hamjo todos ja utungan na fiamjoan matuluta lo talwa. Welcome para mani tanota titanoa mami tanota para na bonitong tano. Pues si Josmasi ne finatun mizo ja si Josem pambinindi si Mona kini itsetso mimizo si Josmasi.
Sizu Smasi, Miss Meskin, put poro ma-recorda. Sino songan inon mo?
Ay, dispensa sa malevans. Inano si Angela Manglonia.
Sizu Smasi.
Está bem provecho.
Thank you, Miss Meskin again, once again. Sizu Smasi, man mago fam no man presente gini. Gitanota luta para bin conductas din na public hearing. The floor is still open for public comments.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. My name is Angie Ana Monglonia Hokuk Munya, and I am in support of the nomination of my mom, Elvira Mesngon. On behalf of her children, my sisters, Laura, Angela, Elvie, my brothers Nook, Perry, and Peregrine, and myself. We want you all to know that our mom has always instilled and reminded each and every one of us the importance of being honest and transparent. We trust that she will always put her best in all she does because she's proven it so many times. Please allow her to work for the people because we know she is capable of doing what's best for the people. Thank you to our Governor Palacios, Lieutenant Governor Apatang for trusting our mom and for everyone in favor of her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hokogmunya. For the record, I also want to state that this committee has received an endorsement letter supporting the nominee, Ms. Elvira Meskin, for the Civil Service Commission from Mr. Herman Atalik. The floor is still open.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Senator Manglonia, and Senator Mendiola. I didn't come prepared today, but I'm here in support with the governor's and lieutenant governor's nominee for Mrs. Meslin's appointment to the Civil Service Commission. Not only that she is my classmate, but we volunteer together at the church, and I feel that there is no doubt that she is not capable in delivering the services that she will be entrusted to do for our community. So therefore, with her education and her experiences, I strongly feel that her nomination is to this position should be a goal. So I am fully in support with her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kittigat. The floor is still open.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, my name is Ivan T. Merritt Jr. I am a voter, resident of the municipality of Rota. My official capacity is the press secretary of the mayor of Rota, the Honorable Aubrey M. Holcook, but today I stand as a member of the community. For the longest time, I have been the longest MC for every function that happened on Rota, for every major event, every event that deals with the youth and the Madamco. One thing is constant as MC of Rota, I see Ms. Elvira and her family. They have always been a pillar of this community. At one time, when the economy was really bad, we were told that we were not going to do a Christmas candy distribution. It was this family, to my left, to your right, that came out from their own pockets and helped out the community, just to give that cheer. Putting Ms. Elvira in the Civil Service Commission is putting a person that is compassionate in what she does. That compassion was seen one time in one of the worst tragedy a family can felt. Ms. Elvira still came to work. She still visits students. As a counselor, she still counsels students. She put her personal side aside to care for the job and the task that she's assigned to. That is commitment. All we ask, if confirmed, please give Ms. Elvira the tools she needs. Give her the teeth she needs to correct issues in our Civil Service Commission. Not just for Rota, for the Commonwealth. Again, for the record, my name is Ivan T. Merritt Jr., and I proudly support the confirmation and the governor's appointee, Ms. Elvira Meskin, to serve in the Civil Service Commission. Sijos Masi.
Cesar's Masi, Mr. Merritt. The floor is still open.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Bauta, Vice Chair, Senator Donald Manglonia, Senators Paul Manglonia, and Senator Dennis Mendola. My name is Noel Mendola Calvo. I work for the Department of Public Safety. Before I want to thank the Governor Palacios and Lieutenant Governor Appleton for their nomination of nominating Mrs. Elvira Mesun for the Civil Service Commission Chair Board Commission. Right? So um, I'm here in favor of that nomination. The thing is with Miss Elvira, that not only that I know her personally, but professionally. Miss Elvira Mesun actually is a very hardworking woman. She supports the the community in different aspects, other than just the school itself, but even the community outside and doing outreach programs. And the only thing I think I know about her also is that she put her faith a lot. You know, she's always out and helping with the church as well. And with her, the one thing I know most thing about Miss Mesun is she has the passion and the drive to work. I've seen her work a lot, even if it's the job is hard, but she strives for to make sure that whatever assignments given to her is accomplished with a little to none of budget or whatever it is. So with this, I'm asking your favorable to please give her the favor of being the board for Rota. Thank you.
Jesus Mossett, Mr. Calvo. The floor is still open.
Good morning, everyone. Um, my name is Shirla Sablon, and I am in favor of Ms. Elvira Mesnon. I know her being in this position will not only help the community, but also, sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm not good at public speaking, and here I am
Don't be.
up here. This is how much I really believe in Ms. Meskin. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sablon. The floor is still open. Dengan todos está pro testigo ta conseguimos na business ta pagona ogan. We will now proceed to the question and answer portion of this hearing. But before I do that, Ms. Mesngun, I will give you the floor to give us your opening statements so that we can get to know you better.
Thank you. I'm really trying to hold back my tears. I'm very sensitive with all these things. Good afternoon, buenas tardes, para todos y man presente, y manee kung zan manee ga. Si tu smasi finenena para si Mayor Aubrey, zan todi consihilio. Con respeto, para member ni Senate Standing Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigations of the 23rd Northern Mariana Islands Commonwealth Legislature, Chairwoman Senator Selena Babauta, Vice Chair Senator Donald Manglonia, members Senator Paul Manglonia, and Senator Dennis Mendiola. My name is Elvira Mesungun, the wife of a very supportive husband, Perry K. Mesungun, a grateful mother of Angela, Angie, Nook, Laura, Elvie, Perry, and Perry Green, and a blessed grandma of 14. I am one of the lucky children of a humble and peaceful man, the late Gabriel T. Manglonia. and a strong-minded, confident, loving woman, Angela Manglonia, and her partner, a caring man, Antonio Taisakan. I am also the daughter-in-law of another humble and kind man, the late Antonio Mesngun, and a kind-hearted woman, the late Maria Mesngun. A supportive sister to my amazing siblings, a proud counselor of the CNMI public school system at Dr. Rita Junior Senior High School, and lastly, a follower of faith. I share all these with you so you can have an idea of the person I am and my driving force to do good. Before I begin, I want to extend a sincere appreciation to Governor Arnold Palacios and Lieutenant Governor David Apateng and his representative, Oscar Babauta, and his team for their confidence in my ability to represent the people of Rota and to work for the people of the CNMI as a member of the Civil Service Commission. It wasn't an easy decision for many reasons. The role that I have as a counselor focuses only on the well-being of our students, my colleagues, and at times parents. However, as a member of the commission, the responsibility is greater and with inevitable challenges. It's taking care of the whole government workforce, present and its future. Ensuring that supports and services are provided so that they, in turn, will be empowered to perform the best they can for our community. I consulted with my family over and over again, and I prayed over it a dozen times. And today, I sit before you, ready and committed, should I be given the opportunity. I can assure you that I will enter with an open mind and a content heart to carry out my duties with integrity and character, to uphold the Commission's mission. I don't have a background with an abundance of experiences, but what I do have are my strong values, my principles, and my love of faith that has guided me for many years. It has held me strong in challenges that I face and has brought me to decisions that I can defend. Should I be given the chance to serve in this capacity, rest assured that I will listen, research, analyze holistically, and represent with fairness and respect. With that said, undang ko na si Zeus Masi, puritempun nizu na naizu no estina tansa, anay husangan pot guahu, zan haftemanu by husetbi I empliao, zan ginindisidi na hungan, guaha confianza, na sinya hutogwi tetu gi estina komisyon. Talu si Zeus Masi, zan buenos dias.
Jesus Mossett, Ms. Meskin. I will now open the floor to the other members to begin their question. Oh, I'm sorry. Recognize the LA, Mr. Giovanni Taitano, to administer the oath. May I ask you to please rise and raise your right hand?
Elvira Manglonia Mescun, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, you do.
Thank you. You may be seated. Now we begin the question portion, and I will recognize any member of the committee to begin. Recognize Senator Donald Magnolia.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, Mrs. Meskin. First of all, thank you for taking the opportunity to volunteer yourself as a commissioner to serve on the Civil Service Commission. You know, this is going to be one of the easiest decisions I'll have to make in regards to your confirmation. And just so the public is aware, when I came back in 2010, I started at Rota, what was then Rota High School, and had first started working with Mrs. Elvira. And up until the time, I ran for office in 2018. And so throughout that time, I've gotten to know Mrs. Elvira's both professional work ethic as well as her personal side. And so when the Madam Chair said that we're here to investigate the characteristics of Mrs. Elvira, that's something that I can vouch for. In addition to what the community members have mentioned in regards to just Mrs. Elvira's overall personality. One thing, or there are several things that I wanted to bring up. I don't have much questions, but I do have some recommendations and suggestions that you can look into if confirmed by the full Senate. And this is one of the things that I hope that the commission can look into is a drug policy. I know that there has been legislation introduced or is in the process of being introduced in the House to take out the drug testing requirements for our employees. I know that there's some positions that will not be affected, or for example, law enforcement and what that would do for them. But even to look at just like other positions that may be affected by a person's cognitive ability in terms of operating heavy machinery and stuff like that. Maybe one question I can ask in regards to that is, what is your opinion on drug use when it comes to law enforcement positions? Other nominees have mentioned a zero tolerance, but I just wanted to hear from where you stand on your concerns about that.
I want to be honest, that's a very complex question that I personally believe requires a lot of research. As you are aware, I am a school counselor. So there's many experiences that I've had personally, but I'm going to refrain from responding personally. However, this will require for me to look really in depth and how it affects the entire workforce. In regards to the law enforcement, law enforcement has higher standards. So I can agree that in regards to law enforcement, it should be zero tolerance. But again, I am still responding outside of the Civil Service Commission. So I would ask for thorough research, thorough analyzation, and work as a team in regards to the subject, to a very critical subject.
Thank you for that. Because as you know, there are two ways we can go about this. It can be either changed through regulations with the Civil Service Commission or done through statute. And so I hope that's something that you can, if confirmed, can work with the other commissioners in how to address the more updated and current policy in regards to that. One thing I also brought up in our hearings with who are now confirmed commissioners, Patrick Fitio and Bellas, is to look at the pay scale study of law enforcement personnel. And I'm not just saying this because you're married to one, or but it has been a concern for quite some time now. And we see a high turnover rate with our officers, maybe because of their being burnt out or not, the pay not matching the kind of work they do. So that's something that I hope that the Civil Service Commission can address in regards to just doing, whether it be a pay scale, pay study for law enforcement or throughout the whole entire government. One thing I also wanted to bring up is, if confirmed, to look into professional development opportunities for all staff, employees of the Commonwealth. I know, as you know, as a teacher and as a counselor, there's all these professional developments to help an individual grow. And so providing that opportunity to our people as well, whether it be administrative work and just, giving them the extra tools to grow professionally, that's something that I know can help our community and help our people of Rota. Another thing I wanted to bring up and hoping that you can address is just, I know there have been concerns shared in regards to personnel action being done here in Rota. I know the issue is there's all this, while we have our OPM office here, all our documents get sent to Saipan, and then there's all this delay with getting employees into the system and getting paid on time or getting processed on time. I know that there has been some, I know back in December, for example, there's a group of individuals who did not get paid for Christmas because someone dropped the ball somewhere in getting these documents routed and then it ended up that position or those positions had to be reannounced. And so there are certain areas in which, we can address and hopefully correct so that our people in Rota could be given the same and equal opportunity that our counterparts on Saipan go through in terms of submitting employment documents and getting these documents processed and go through the system. And as I stated earlier, this is one of the easiest decisions I will have to make when it comes to the confirmation at a later time in front of the full Senate. You have a vast knowledge of our current workforce because you work with students and you help them transition out of high school into the workforce. And so you'll continue to work with them and hopefully address some of their concerns that they bring up as they seek employment after graduation. And so I have full faith that you will protect the rights of our employees in the same manner you do our students. And so again, thank you for taking this challenge in wanting to serve our Commonwealth at a technically a volunteer capacity. And before I end, I just want to also take the opportunity to thank and acknowledge our former commissioner, Ms. Valerie Apateng, for her contributions and her time with CSC. And so at this time, I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Donald Manglonia. I have questions and recommendations as well. How do you think your current position as a counselor lend to or complement commissioner on the Civil Service Commission? How would you pair those two up and marry them so that it benefits civil service employees?
I think, well, first off, I want to share this, and I think this has come to mind so many times. Several years ago, I looked around, and I believe this was during the COVID. I kind of looked around I was at home, but looking at the CNMI as a whole. And it came to me that in the school level, in my experience, we do our best to empower our kids, our students, to bring the belief that there is something good here in our islands for them. And that's what we all want, is for them to go out and come back. Or should they not go out and they want to remain, that there are opportunities in the workforce for them. And the reality was, and maybe it was because it was during COVID, there's really not much. Not much. And I've asked myself many times, what can I do to open the minds of not just the legislature, not just the executive branch, but as a community overall, on how can we assure that there's a future for at least majority of our children when they get out of school. And as Vice Chair mentioned, we want to be able to, I guess, my apologies. Okay. I need to bring back my thoughts. I see I see the kids, exiting out, and I want to be able to at least contribute to how to ensure that there's something for our kids, whether when they return or they remain, and how we can protect them and how we can protect them in their workforce, as well as provide the support and services so that they remain and contribute to our community.
Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned a couple of things in there that I took away. I'm glad you've taken the time to discern some of those questions you have posed on yourself to empower students, because it's challenging to satisfy all employees of the government, and it's never going to happen, in my opinion, personal opinion. But you, if confirmed, will be in that role to work on the retention of government employees and recruitment of best qualified employees for our government. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and I ask you to continue to ask yourself those questions. And I encourage you to start early, even before the Senate confirms you, to start reading up on the Public Service System Rules and Regulations, or the PSSRR. That's the guiding principles of civil service employees in the government. Being the only military spouse in the legislature, if there is anything that it has taught me, is that the composition in the legislature needs a voice, a prominent voice, to advocate for military dependence. Part of our lifestyle is that we move around a lot. We don't gain the experience. And many military spouses actually have professional licenses. They're either licensed teachers, licensed nurses. They've passed their accountancy board certifications in other states. But the CNMI is still lagging in migrating those licenses, professional licenses, into our workforce. So I hope you look into that. Many times we remain invisible in larger conversations in the government to adapt to these needs, because we need professionals in our government. And so I ask you to look into that. There's a saying, expect the best, but prepare for the worst. And your nomination comes at a very turbulent fiscal period in our government, and it's starting to look like, at least projections at this point. Here we are, end of June, and fiscal projections dictate or are telling us that the 72 hours will most likely be carried over into the new fiscal year. So, and that is a key principle with regard to retention of the workforce and also recruitment. My recommendation is that you look into providing incentives to retain good employees and recruit the best that we have available in our community. One thing that I have always posed before any Civil Service Commission nominee that has been summoned before this committee, as well as the CNMI Scholarship Board, there is a big disjointment between departments. And I'm talking about the CNMI Scholarship Office, Office of Personnel Management, Civil Service Commission, Board of Professional Licensing, where they operate in silos and they don't communicate with each other. One of the greatest things that I have always recommended to the Scholarship Board, as well as civil service nominees, is that they create a pipeline with graduating students abroad, because we need them back. it was CNMI government funds that they used to obtain their degree. And I think they should, I feel that we need them back to execute and utilize their degrees back home because we need them. So I'm asking the Civil Service Commission, the CNMI Scholarship Office, and other agencies to create that pipeline so that us, CNMI Scholarship already knows who's graduating and what field of discipline they'll be graduating in, and to create that pipeline directly into the agencies. So if we have a person graduating with a civil engineering degree, create that pipeline to either the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation or the Department of Public Works. If it's a nursing licensing or a nursing degree they will be getting, form that conduit, be the conduit, and create that pipeline to insert them into our government agencies. And I haven't seen that done, and I haven't heard of any effort to do that. There are many students who choose to remain in the US. We can't compete with their salaries, but perhaps through incentives, either monetary or other benefits, fringe benefits, perhaps we can entice them to come back to our home island. That's all I have, really. We don't have much questions for you. We know you have not observed any of the commission's meetings yet. You've just been nominated. And I will yield at this time to other members. I recognize Senator Dennis Mendiola.
Thank you, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, you're absolutely right. I don't think we have too much questions just because you have not sat in that position. So for us to poke on some of the, the policies and procedures will be unfair to you. But I will kind of touch base on your profession because I see that I'm looking at your credentials, and yeah, you've been a counselor for such a long time. And I think personally, I think that professional development wise, I think that we need to build our capacity, and the chair and vice kind of touch base on this in counseling as supervisors. One of the issues that we have in the workforce, and I've dealt with a lot of this during my tenure as a deputy commissioner and so forth, is the misunderstanding of a lot of the PSSR or some of the do's and don'ts in just the workforce itself, in terms of regulating our employees and stuff like that. Sometimes there's just confusion on, for example, scolding an employee. Some can misconstrue that as, threatening an employee so I think that we need to build our professional capacity through professional development, through counseling skills, and just, I know when I was in the military, we do a lot of, sergeant's time training. They call it sergeant's time training or, commander's training. And it really is just learning to interact with employees or soldiers, and I'm sure the chair probably heard a lot of this, but, when you're getting ready to deploy, everybody's just tense, anxious, they're not sure if they're coming home, whatever the case may be. So sometimes, like in the law enforcement or in the fire service or other field such, that, sometimes just the pressure of just the job itself just makes it harder to communicate with employees. There's also a sense of entitlement, employees that has been in the department for such a long time, 30, 40 years, but they're a victim of, a failed retirement system, so they can't retire. So now they're just grumpy. They're just in the workforce and they're just grumpy because they're ready to retire, but they're stuck because they have to wait out the years, right, and retire through Social Security or whatever the case may be. So it makes it challenging because then the next issue that we have is the upward mobility of the professional development, right, or the staff or the employees. There is no upward mobility just because we got employees at the management level that have sat there for 30, 40 years. It's that there's no excitement to move the department forward, but the problem is they're just stuck, so they can't retire and they can't move. But what I've learned is that we teach the younger generation, to the leaders, right, to move up to that position and start taking over and, start being excited to be, like you said earlier, empowering. right? And you see that from the school. I saw a lot of students excited to be the firefighter, for example, police officer. As soon as they enter the workforce, it's like 2 years later they resign because it's not what they expect. So I think it's just really holding people to the standard, no? Also learning the do's and don'ts and having a little bit more compassion towards employees coming in, because sometimes it's not just clean the office. You know, it's kind of degrading at times, especially if you've graduated with an associate's degree and so forth, right? So we need to just define these in through professional development. So that's one of the keys that I wanted to implement. And just I saw in the Centric report that in 2022 there was a challenge trying to have professional development, and I'm sure it's through because of COVID and leading to 2023, 2024, and so on. I'm sure it's going to be a budgetary challenge. But I know that as teachers, counselors, you guys make things happen even with the little resources that you guys have. And I think that your nomination coming to this is one of the, probably one of the most exciting nomination, just because I know that in the school here, especially, there's a lot of challenge and you guys still make things happen. So other than that, I just wanted to just point that out. The chair and vice pointed a lot of it, and I'm not gonna insult you by reiterating a lot of it. So thank you for accepting the nomination, Madam Chair. I yield for now.
Thank you. Cesar Small State Senator Mendiola, recognize Senator Paul Manglonia.
Cesar Small State Chair. Buenas, Madam Chair, ti mege questiono benti no puntua pabe fatinas lo antes deno malago na be na pantungo amzo dan ipubliko na gi 2007 si Mrs. Mesun no guiza premier na Ciudadano Mariana sa CBG Truman Scholarship. The proud zone no I Senate ma introduce da mapasa no Senate Resolution 15-44 ma recogniza ne conclusion accomplishments sa Truman Scholarship na no ma-create na US Congress antilatizo galum guiza uno gi 70 na estudiante no ma-accepta. Pues toda cuestión magufu sa achuli este na responsabilidad y maga ti give me na tauto malago pa machuli este na gi alatsa siya guana ti bula ti sesu ti quorum sa ti Libano este na chocho mucho más genen luta me kenya debut na ano pa sa ipan no pues naunga na esta bula siya para atindi na problema ni gobernamento siya na empleado da lokri pon dingoy familia pues Jesus Mausia na unaccepte no uno na ang paratatan i mission civil service by quota to dispense prompt, fair, and impartial resolutions of employee grievances and appeals, and to develop and promulgate regulations on processes necessary to uphold the civil service personnel system free from coercion and political influence in the delivery of quality services to the people of the Commonwealth. No Tilibano da gagi takilo compensao na algo sempre ina dan maulik sempre representación mo neste na mission de civil service seno mo na magufo talo ne una accepta no lo uno na gialatsa sia o se sentimo na problema i civil service taza sesu na taza legal counsel da no malumo viano no sukuna enigi uno mas takilo pata sigit mozo dan no chumek ta mano ne taga no sa empleado ne gai problema malago na listo masatba or making o i zonya grievance or an gua problema nya o listo mga no masangoni na taza hearing officers no taza no zonya legal counsel i person of enigi uno vena takilo por favor ata ne no na siguro na gumagawa to di tempo na assistant ni legal counsel. I otro i pandan sick leave Pwede pago na mamakad isti medical referral no guana na malongo i pamanaono za taza no immediatamente na familianya tat kumasagwanya or nananya or chilunya sinya umescort za no guana bene manguni amigo or atungo za ti masedi gi Siglif Bank pues watan ini ki unu sinya ma immediatamente matuleka kontatki ma certify na anisisita escort gona suku naong da son na sinya mana sono gi programan Siglif Bank enon empleado masa taza directamente junior relationship pwede gini gi ane mumakat pagu i referral no pues no taza watan isti y se eso está el gobernamento con las dos viajes que malofan 4 5 años no gumazi na situación na ma taugo y civil service na atampan en lisa pudi menos y fincas y gobernamento debe de tanagua reduction in force that your decision o factor na tempo lo no mas na razón na debe ta fam prepara at least guaha jota policy no jamunga na gi infin and mamattuero na ora o machogwin taza reglamento preciso na tratta todo empleado gi parejo pues enigi uno no watan no necesita di guajota policy debe i commission ufan matatsung masya tabiat ililikot manaigit geno ungan ista gua 30 lo debe gua no gua planon niya agin mattueno pues taza no talo bena donkulo na si zus mosi na ponchulesti sa tilibanos ti sa guana bene ne amjo pagu gini man mapega gi maka na situasyon sa performa desisyon lo debe di chega fai maulik da i pomachogi i maulik gagi takilo na enangko si zus mosi. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Palminglonia. I recognize Senator Dennis Mendiola for the second round.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I just wanted to touch up on drug testing. I know you guys kind of brought that up, and I heard your statement earlier, and it's going to require a lot of research. Izuku opinion, Izumo opinion, and everybody's opinion is kind of differs when it comes down to drug testing. And we can all probably agree that when it comes down to law enforcement or any kind of sworn services, it's a little bit different. The standards is higher, but Unuloki, I'm a little bit concerned that it's probably through the passage of this the legalization marijuana use, or it's going to pose as a challenge. And if we're going to start removing employees just because of this this law, it kind of creates a conflict between the departments or the agency head is in your policy and this law. So it's posing a challenge. And I was kind of thinking about it, like, let's say you take a drug test, and you smoke marijuana during the weekend, not during the working hours, but supposedly it stays in your system for 30 days. So how do we define, or how do we draft a policy in accordance to that? How do we determine when is the person smoking marijuana, or if it's after hours or if it's during working hours? So and you mentioned that it's you guys it's gonna require a lot of research, and I want to probe that, and hopefully we can come up with some kind of regulatory guideline where we can all follow and make sure that we're not just getting rid of employees just because of the controversy or the confusion of the law. Because I hear it sometimes. I have constituents that are out there, and some of them need this as medicinal purposes. Some of them are in need of this for to keep them at a level where they can operate or function. But in other fields, it's a little bit challenging, because if we go into a court of law, how do we determine your level of cognizance when you render services, right? For example, law or any of that in that nature. So I think we need to come up with a clearer policy where it defines everything and it's thorough, and everybody as leaders or as managers or supervisors, you can guide yourself through this. And then leading into just training supervisors, and I mentioned that earlier with professional development. Is just training supervisors to recognize this, and when is it a threat for the department? When is the department going to take action? What is first offense? What is second offense? What is third offense? And so forth. I know we tend to say zero tolerance, but I know that in my time, there's some employees that I rendered a harsher punishment just because it's a pattern, versus somebody who just was with the group and just was influenced to do something wrong. And I don't think it's detrimental to the career. However, the punishment itself, it's already a, kind of a delay for their career. So it comes down to promotion or whatever, right? It's if you have this on record, it's already, it's a form of punishment already. I don't think we just gotta jump right to terminating, because now then there's the family that we gotta worry about. So I just wanted to point that out, because you mentioned that it's gonna require a lot of research, and I agree with you completely. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, you for now.
Thank you, Senator Mendiola. Do you have anything else? Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, wala siya naman no manono man kuleyo man makat no man manudot so sa bula mampus no influences, whether it's lack of experience, lack of the proper discipline degree. But the biggest thing we face in our CNMI is political influence. And I'm not tolerant of that personally. So I hope na zagin ma-confirma ho ni Senate, do the right thing. That's all we ask. Do the right thing. Zangin tikapos, pues ti fit gid na posisyon ni. Da sempre utimonya no sige ta sangan na baban empleyado lo era ti mo umaadza i experience niya za ni mono na posisyon ni manaholom ge pues ni uno beo na takilo no pinaisenu no hamzo to make the right decisions. Look, first of all, congratulations kizomu no Truman Scholarship. That truly is an honor badge that you should wear. Makes our CNMI proud. Zani otru lekta o mencionas ta didi por este budget za sigungi often lili kana bente ma extendiste i austerity gi nuevo na fiscal year. Da sempre titatungo gi mamayla siya na meses ne. Komas o added este na problema i bandan salapi gi gobernamento ta za it may come down to, and I'm not saying it is, I'm not predicting it is, that it will lead to either reduction in force or hindi siya na remedio guaha gi government ne. So I hope you guys come up with and help us at the legislature to come up with a solution to try and retain employees, long-serving employees in our government, because we need their services as well. We need their experience, we need their expertise. Those are the two things I wanted to reiterate. But lastly, I just felt I had to put in my 2 cents with all this drug testing requirements. No, para go timaka de no na decision gimagay. Zero tolerance para law enforcement.
Yeah.
And that's my personal opinion as well as my professional opinion. It should be zero tolerance when it comes to law enforcement, whether tumupag tasig last week, untung nga na mangangat gawaan mas. Sa debido ga responsibilidad. Zangin mangangat ko no anmas gi sitso mo ne. Za put para i safety todo i komunidad ta ni familia ta todo. My personal policy is zero tolerance. And Noah Mas, if you would like to make any closing arguments based on what we have recommended, I will open the floor for you.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I don't have any opposing arguments. I actually am very appreciative. Should I be confirmed, for all the recommendations and the preparations that I may be facing or will be facing should I be given that opportunity. As a counselor, I'm going to go back again to Chairwoman's question. As a counselor, first and foremost, I have to be compassionate. And our employees are very important. The employees of the CNMI are very important sa siha muna kontinunua e gobernamentota. Whatever challenges that comes our way, again, I would do the best that I can to research so that the safety and the well-being of the employees as well as the people they serve are utmost the priority. I can already anticipate, again, como manayunena na posisyon, the prayers that I will go through to make decisions, make sound decisions that will, again, fit the best interest of, I'm going to say, the entire CNMI, although it is the workforce. However, the workforce, he plays a huge part of our CNMI. Thank you.
Susan Smalsik, before we dismiss you for today, this committee has observed that you possess the necessary education, experience, demeanor, character to serve the Civil Service Commission well. And based on our observation during the course of this hearing, it will be our privilege to recommend that you be confirmed by the full Senate.
Thank
You are hereby dismissed. Thank you, Ms. Meskin. It is now 12:17, and this hearing is hereby in recess until 1:30 this afternoon to vet the credentials of Ms. Dana Calvo and Mr. Daniel Taitano, nominated to the Commonwealth Economic Development Authority Board of Directors. Again, we are in recess until 1:30.